I'm joined now by Representative Maria Salazar from Florida. Good morning, Representative, and welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Bright
I
and
am been.
early.
I know it's early, but I'm in California. It's 4:30 out here. When I'm on the West Coast and I do this show, I take no excuses. Good morning to you, Congresswoman. You are one of the bright stars of the new freshman class, and I'm not on in Miami. I'm on all over Florida, but not in Miami. So, would you please introduce yourself to 400 Hugh Hewitt affiliates and tell them about your story?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. And we got to do something about that, the fact that you are not in Miami. So I'm going to help you with that, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
I am a Cuban American. I'm first generation American. My parents came when they were 25 with $5 in their pocket because Fidel Castro, somebody that I'm sure you would recognize that name, promised them democratic socialism. And they had to flee because in practice it was miserable, in theory was glorious. So the reason why I'm running, and I ran and I won in my district, is because we know very well what dogma and ideology does, what it promises, but at the end what it comes out to be. And that is why in Miami, we Cuban Americans and the Venezuelans and the whole Latin American community understands that what's happening right now within the Democratic Party is something very dangerous for the Republic.
Now, Maria, you are an existential threat to Democrats everywhere. You've got not only brains and a master of public administration from Harvard's Kennedy School, you've also got media chops. You were a superstar in media before you decided to do this. Why make a jump from a fast-track career to being a freshman in Congress? Because it's just most people don't do that.
Well, that's a very good question, and I'm going to explain to you why. When I was a little girl in Little Havana, I would hear my parents saying that in Cuba, people got into politics when they couldn't do anything else, and then the people that wound up being politicians were a bunch of thieves. And look what happened: a thief stole their fatherland. So I decided that for this beautiful American experiment, the American exceptionality, you need to have people that can go forward with a lot of talent and with a career like journalism and explain to the rest of the Republic and the country that we need to preserve the American agenda because this is the only agenda that works. And how do we know? Because we have seen the opposite. We know what the banana republic agenda represents for your children and my children. So I think that honorable people have to step forth and do it, and I decided to do it myself.
Now,
I'm
Congresswoman,
what I was preaching.
I've been doing this for 30 years on radio and television, and I happen to respect people who can do interviews, and you can do interviews. And you have sat down with Maduro, with Augusto Pinochet. You've sat down with Castro. So you know how to do the one-on-one. You're the first Spanish language journalist in the Congress who has actually joined. What did you learn, going toe-to-toe with the dictator? Now, one is a authoritarian, the other is a totalitarian. What did you learn?
Correct. Well, I'm going to tell you what I learned. I think this is a very good question. I can tell you that indeed, I was the only member of the Spanish television world in the United States that was able to sit down with Fidel because he knew that there was a very big difference in sitting down with Barbara Walters or with Diane Sawyer, whom he can deceive or enamor, or sit down with us, that we really knew who he was and what he had done to his people. So I'm delighted and honored that I was able to get that interview because it took me 3 years to chase him until I got him. And I'm down telling you that he was the devil. You can definitely, and I can tell you and attest with no qualms that Fidel Castro is Satan, and you feel it.
Christopher Hitchens, when he was alive, used to do a weekly spot with me. And he told me the most evil man he had ever met was the dictator of Argentina, that he could feel it, as you're discussing. He could actually sense that this man was evil personified. So you got that from Maria? From Fidel?
Yeah, Fidel, yeah. You feel it on. It's something that you cannot describe with words because it's a feeling that stays on your skin. But whatever you want to call it, it's the aura, it's the vibes, the chemistry, the vibrations, whatever you want to call it. But you do feel it on your skin that you are in front of a very dark presence, and then the energy grows and it oppresses you as long. The more time you spend in front of him, the longer you are in front of that presence, the more you feel it and the more it oppresses. And that has stuck in my conscience. I did that in 1995, and I was in front of him for 35 hours. I'm sorry, for 3 hours. And yeah, so
no, you never forget a great. I interviewed the Dalai Lama in '95 as well. I just thought of a '95. I'll never forget 3 hours with the Dalai Lama in Atlanta. You just don't forget that sort of thing. But at least I was with a very good man. You were with Satan. Now, Congresswoman, this is a difficult question. If anyone else has your chops and your experience, I mean, really, Christiane Amanpour made a career out of sitting down with Khomeini. You did not get that break from big media in New York, despite your record-breaking interviews. Is that because you were a conservative and a Cuban American?
Absolutely. I never got the big break because of two things. Because I was a conservative. I was a Cuban American, and the problem with the Cuban Americans is that we are the only ethnic group that you can make fun of and pay no consequences. I'm going to repeat that to you again. The Cuban Americans in the United States could be made fun of, mocked, but no one will ever pay a price, whether you are academia, whether you're the intelligentsia, whether you're in the news media. It doesn't matter. We can be very much made fun, create a caricature of us. Why? Because we sided with the United States in the very big fight with the big Satan that was loved and adored for 60 years by the rest of the world. That's
I've never heard that before. I've often cited to my friends on the left Armando Valladares' Against All Hope as the Bible they've got to read to have even a glimpse. If they're an Anglo like me and they're Irish Catholic, they need to read that book. But I have never heard what you just said. I didn't realize that is something you believe. I've heard it said that anti-Catholicism is the last acceptable prejudice, which I believe. I'm a Catholic. But you just said with great passion and conviction that this goes on all the time about Cuban Americans, and that's news to me, Congresswoman Salazar.
Well, but think about it. Think about it. They can deride us. They can make fun of us. They can do anything to us. Anyone, the academia, even the news organizations, and there is no price to pay. Why? If you were to do that to any other ethnic group in the United States, you would have to, I apologize, it's true, I'm so sorry, we made a mistake. It never happens with the Cuban Americans because the Cuban Americans are caricatured, that we're the bad people, that we were the people that sided with the dictator, that because we sided with the Yankees, we sided with the good forces.
Now, Congresswoman, I've got 1 minute left. You got to come back. You're terrific. But I got to ask you, you've got a lot of Venezuelan exiles. You've got a lot of people from Puerto Rico who fled. Florida is now full of people who have had to go there for opportunity. You got a great governor. You got a great delegation. I should disclose my son works for Michael Waltz, so I know all about your delegation.
Yeah.
Florida
is wonderful. Waltz is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Florida is the new Texas. Everybody's going to Florida. What's your goal? I mean, give us a minute of what you want to accomplish.
I just want to create a better future for my kids and the kids of everybody that's watching. I need to preserve, and I'm going to do everything possible in order to preserve the system, the American exceptionality. That it's in danger right now. And why is it in danger? Because there are people in media and academia that believe that democratic socialism is the way to go, that handouts is the way to go, that indebting the government to the max is the way to go. That is not free market, freedom, the Constitution. I that is what I really wanted to do. And that's the only reason why I'm doing this, because you know why? Because we have seen the other side. We know, we have points of reference. And this is the land of the free. And the last city on the hill and the rest of the world is watching. If we don't keep it with the way it is intact, there's no way to go and no place to go for us.
Congresswoman, that's inspiring. You've made my Friday, you've made my long weekend, and I hope you keep making return trips to the Hugh Hewitt Show. Maria Salazar represents Florida's 27th District. Go follow her and find her on Twitter, and I promise you she'll be back. Thank you, Congresswoman. That was terrific. Wow. Good.